If you grew up on the internet, then the name Charlie the Unicorn probably elicits a few flashbacks. It was a bizarre series of animated shorts about talking unicorns getting into all sorts of wacky shenanigans. And throughout Charlie's adventures, things continuously get more and more ridiculous and bizarre, while he is just really not having it. These animations were created by Jason Steele, the founder of the website filmcow.com. He also created the much less family-friendly Llamas with Hats. If you haven't seen the ending to Llamas with Hats, then prepare yourself, cause just know that it is so depressing I had to watch the ending of Infinity War to calm down. Jason Steele's animation and style of humor was no doubt considered pioneering at his time, and it paved the way for a lot of YouTube content today. But I'm not here to talk about his origin or his rise to popularity or anything like that. I want to focus on one of his more recent works, Shadowstone Park. Shadowstone Park and its sequel series, The Fall of Shadowstone Park, do still have a lot of that Jason Steele brand humor, but unlike Charlie and Llamas, the story is a lot more thought out. As great as the Charlie the Unicorn finale was, do you really think Jason planned on having the blue and pink unicorns be revealed to be interdimensional demons from the very beginning the entire time? Honestly, maybe. Shadowstone Park was initially created as part of Cartoon Hangover, which was this project by Frederator to see if they could create TV quality shows just on YouTube. And the answer? Well, yes, but actually no. And Shadowstone Park, I don't know if it was canceled or unfinished or whatever, but it just kind of ended very early and there was no conclusion to anything. I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh, this was released 2 years ago. Dang it. I guess I'll never know what happens." But actually, that was not the end of Shadowstone Park cuz many years later Jason Steele would have a Kickstarter for it and it would eventually bring it back as The Fall of Shadowstone Park. The story of Shadowstone Park follows Lark, a paraplegic cat, and his assistant Pecan. The main setting of the series is a location simply called the Park. It's an area where all sorts of different animals live together in harmony. Above them is the Shadowstone, which is this giant rock that, well, casts a shadow on everyone. But something is wrong. There appears to be some sort of infection that keeps driving the animals insane, forcing them to kill each other and revert back to their feral nature. Even more interestingly is that the infection seems to only infect each species one at a time. On the bright side, once an animal leaves the boundaries of the park, they will, for whatever reason, refuse to re-enter. So often that's what they do whenever someone gets infected. They just lead them away and then that's that. Lark also has the ability to see ghosts. No one really knows why, and he's the only one that can. He uses this power to solve the murders and also help the ghosts cross over to the other side. There's also a creature known as Nil. No one knows what animal he is, and he's been there since the very start of the park. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to cross over. As time goes on, the infection spreads and becomes much more lethal and dangerous, and Lark begins to wonder, is this the end of Shadowstone Park? But everything changes the day Ava, the penguin, showed up. Now, beyond this point, things are going to get very spoiler heavy, so if you still have not seen Shadowstone Park, then I recommend you click the links in the description and go watch it for yourself. Now, Ava's introduction is a pivotal moment, as before it was believed that there was nothing outside the park. The entire world was just decimated. Not only that, but apparently she survived the apocalyptic landscape by carrying a gun everywhere. And if showing up out of the blue with a gun wasn't scaring everyone enough, she began doing some strange work on the Shadowstone. Lark especially does not like this since he believes that the Shadowstone is the only thing protecting them from the virus. Now, something that I noticed throughout watching the series is that a lot of characters seemingly have unreachable goals. One of the most notable examples is with Crush, a harpy eagle and one of the first characters to succumb to the virus. The transformation to madness is not instant, it's slow and painful. She did not want to be a killer any more than she wanted to be exiled, but it was already too late for her. There are other less extreme examples of this, such as a mouse who is lonely in life and lonely in death, and a snail who never felt fulfilled with himself. At one point, Nil reveals to Darius, the former king of the birds, that whenever his species dies, their bodies react in different ways. His body continued to crystallize and evolve and morph past his death. And this raises the question, is Nil really Nil? And this is what drives Darius to madness. And you might be thinking, okay, yeah, sure, but really what does all of that mean? How does all this tie together? Now, at this point, things are going to get extremely spoilery, so if you did not turn back before, please do now. Ava, Lark, and Pecan enter the Shadowstone, and it's revealed that it was actually a machine. Not just any machine, but a spaceship. It's revealed that Nil is actually an alien and the former captain of the ship. His species evolved to be able to metabolize anything, meaning they never had motivation to kill. They were a race that valued life more than anything, and all they wanted was to spread their gift to the rest of the universe, but when they arrived on Earth, they were met with resistance. And I believe it is implied that the reasons why the animals of the park are able to live in harmony with each other and not, kill and eat each other like animals is because of this metabolism. It took away their need to hunt each other and also made them intelligent enough to communicate. Now, this is actually really interesting, as it does explain why they form a society, since normally in talking animal media, either the predators are the bad guys, or they're all friends for absolutely no reason. The CIA did not appreciate of the animals' newfound sentience, so they sent an AI to infect all of the ships and take control of them. This plan miserably backfired, and all of humanity was wiped out. It's also revealed that the virus was actually a byproduct of the Shadowstone slowly dying. And apparently the Shadowstone took longer to freak out because it spent most of its power generating a bunch of skulls for King Darius, since he was, and I quote, a huge skull pervert. Yeah, there's a lot of, weird allusions to fetish shit in this cartoon. Those who can see ghosts, such as Lark and Ava, were actually granted this ability by the inside of the Shadowstone. Not only that, but it makes them immune to the virus. At the end, it's revealed that there is one ship not taken over by the CIA. A ship that scans all the life on the planet, and every time someone dies, it downloads their memories and puts it into a hologram so they can live on as a recording. During the climax, the machine gets confused and marks Lark as dead, creating essentially a copy of Lark. Nil explains to the clone Lark that all along the ghosts he was seeing were really recordings, and every time they crossed over to the other side, they were really being deleted. Nil explains that he never had the stomach to tell this to the real Lark, and the way he puts it is, this way it's like telling you without telling you. Spirit Lark decides that the guilt of knowing that all those deaths were his fault is too much for him to bear, and so he chooses to cross over himself. The series ending is surprisingly very open-ended, as Lark, Pecan, and Ava journey off into the unknown world to find other parks so they can save them from the Shadowstones as well. Ava warns them as newcomers who go snooping around aren't really accepted, this mirroring, of course, how Lark and Pecan behaved to her when she initially showed up. So what does all this really mean? What is Shadowstone Park trying to say? Well, I believe that it's a story about failure and the inevitability of suffering. Some things, like death, have no escape. The aliens wanted to help the Earth, and it failed. The CIA wanted to stop the animals, and they were all wiped out. Lark tried helping the ghosts cross to the other side, but didn't realize he was killing them. He even tried to stop Ava from meddling with the Shadow Stone, even though the Shadow Stone is what was causing everyone to go insane. And this failure does come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, as many characters want to find permanent happiness or want to find a solution to suffering, but such things do not exist. The CIA, the main villain, is dead years before the story even begins, yet the world is still ravaged by their presence. It's honestly very horrific to think about. So is that it? Is pain and suffering the inescapable, most powerful force in the universe? Well, there is one scene that I found very memorable. When Ava first arrives, she's on her way to fix the Shadow Stone, but stops by a tortoise named Bag to ask about the stone and Lark. Ava quickly realizes that Bag is actually very lonely, and one of the few people in the park that aren't afraid of her simply because she's a newcomer. And so Ava puts down everything. She halts her entire investigation just to talk with Bag, just to spend time with them, to treat them like a person. Pain is something that does not go away, but it is something that you can live with. The ending of the series does pretty much outright say that yes, more adventures are to come, but they're probably going to stay off screen, since I don't think we really need a third season of Shadowstone Park, and I don't think there will be one. All the lore questions have already been answered, and all the thematic statements have all been made. The story has said what it wants to say, and now it's over. Looking back, it's pretty remarkable, since Shadowstone Park was the last series I expected to see return, let alone cover it on this channel. And I actually consider Shadowstone Park a lot more ambitious than both Charlie the Unicorn and Llamas with Hats. Not really saying that those other two are bad, but still. I hope this video encourages you to check out some more of Jason Steele's work, aside from just Charlie and Llamas. I believe as of now he has a series called Vulo Lives, which is like a VTuber parasite thing. I don't even know, but that one's really good. But until then, this has been Alex 8 Ball, reminding you to stay frosty. Why is it that there's a canon reason why all the animals can understand each other, yet Pecan is the only character in the entire thing that doesn't speak English? Well, they can understand her, so are they speaking the same language, and the audience just can't hear it? No, but the spaceship spoke to her in Bok Bok sound, so which is it then? What?